really awesome engagement. Tachometer, speedometer work. And yeah, she scoots when you want it to, which is pretty good. Appeals to the buyer who's looking to get into Rovers. It might be looking at a Defender 110 or imported 90 or something like that, and has not seen a comparable or interesting restored spec classic. Howdy, welcome back to the Addicted Motors YouTube channel. My name is Troy. What's behind me might be my dream Range Rover. Usually we do kind of, well, let's call them not the nicest trucks here on the channel. Most of them are my personal projects, but this one is not a project. This is a fully built and actually is for sale, which is kind of why I'm making the video. A 1990 Range Rover Classic 2-door. Let's check it out. All right, so let's kind of get to the bottom of this one. Again, like I mentioned, it's a 1999 or 1990 two-door imported from, I believe, Spain, Range Rover Classic. Now, this truck was brought over by a restoration company a few years ago, and they did the paint, they did the ARB bumper, the tires, they did the, I'll walk around back in a second, the custom spare tire holder bumper in the back, as well as the interior, the lift, and a few other things. Unfortunately, few months or maybe a year afterwards. Now, that truck originally was sold and equipped with a 200 TDI, 5-speed manual, etc., like from factory. That anemic, let's call it a 200 TDI, whatever it was, or VM, blew up in grand fashion, black smoke everywhere. After this owner, the second owner of the restored truck, bought it, and has since been replaced by our good friend Jimmy at Constant Classics, a rebuilt 4-liter GEMS engine with an R380 and LT230, just how we'd like to see it. Which, in my opinion, makes this truck special because not only does it look the part, it goes the part, and it has the mechanical backings of, you know, not only, I guess, again, a restoration shop, listen, they're a dime a dozen, but also a knowledgeable engine builder and restorer. So, again, this truck looks pretty, but now it has the I guess they call it the chops to match the toughness there. So again, rebuilt engine, rebuilt transfer case and transmission. So this thing is good to go, and it drives beautifully. Again, everything about this truck to me is cool as far as a 2-door is concerned. Some people don't have opinions about the rear bumper. It's functional. Let's just put it as that. We've got a US spec trailer hitch on it, the black Steelies. We've got BF Goodrich, mud terrain KM2s, obviously the correct badging, this wonderful blue color. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Not Charleston blue, but kind of like a TR6 like blue. And it's a good looking rig. Oh look, another one. Oh, it's still weird seeing 3 pedals in a Classic here in the States. I know internationally, not that interesting, but here, kind of an anomaly. All right, here's what makes this thing pretty special, guys. This is the 4-liter GEMS Rover V8. New bearing, cams, rings, head gasket, whole thing. Again, fully rebuilt for the most part. Again, it's executed very nicely. Again, you get your OBD2 reader there. Everything as far as the management of how this swap was done was executed very nicely and professionally, and is what you want to see for, again, a high dollar build like this. I mean, this was all this truck was really missing, was a power plant that really suited the vibe and the look of this truck. So now, I think in confidence you can say it really, it's got the heart to kind of match the looks here. So other little touches, again, you got the front runner roof rack on there. You have this custom rear tire carrier. Again, that's not everyone's thing. I think it looks okay. I mean, you could probably move that up a little bit and whatnot, but again, I'm not going to go into the specific details of how you want to preferentially spec your truck out. You got the OEM light guards on it. What else? Oh yeah, backup camera that gets integrated into the Land Rover little infotainment system we got in there, and that's really about it. I mean, it's I think this is French blue, right? This is a French blue. Let me know in the comments. You got some Pro Comp shocks and springs. Looks like about a 2-inch lift on it. Underside, nice and clean. Again, as you'd expect for a higher dollar restoration. Good tread on these KM3s, and I'm not really sure. Again, it has the ARB bumper on it. You've got the I guess the Saudi looking grill. You've got the high output headlights, Hella's winch. Again, it's suited up to be a functional truck. This is not just a pretty truck. This has been brought off road and driven, which is awesome. But I tell you what, my driveway's looking pretty cool right now. Yeah, I'm a fan. That's a good looking truck, man. There's just something awesome about a clean lifted classic with an ARB. It does it for me. All right, let's fire it up. So odd being, in a classic with a different look and a feel. I mean, the glass house view you get from the cockpit or the driver's seat from a two-door is very different than a 4-door. You just have way more glass. This window here is expansive and huge. It just feels a little different. It definitely feels special. The truck shows kilometers, 208 kilometers. Obviously, the engine on the rebuild probably only has less than 4,000 or 5,000. I'm not sure, but it's very little. The current owner has only had it for about a year and a half and has since purchased the Ineos Grenadier, so that doesn't leave a spot in the garage for this. But you've got the Land Rover spec integrated Bluetooth radio, which is pretty neat. I do have the fuse panel, it's in there, and a couple little trim pieces that need to go back on the truck, as well as the shift handle for the LT230. What else? This is a 5-speed, although reverse is over here. Again, this is just the same as it was in the diesel, which I'm not sure if that had a different transmission, probably an LT77 possibly, or whatever the comparable 4-speed was. I don't remember, but now it has an R380, so different shift pattern than what is shown here. You've got an RRC cubby situation. You've got an ARB air locker in the rear. You've got these kind of houndstooth redone seats. Just a nice place to be. Oh, and this one's cool too. You do have a backup camera, which boom, pops right in when you are in reverse, which is a nice touch. Interesting, not much needed with the amount of visibility you have in the truck. So before I go on the drive, it's always a special view out the front of a Range Rover Classic. And this one is no different. It's just a little bit, I think a little more special though when you're shifting your own gears. And a slightly different gear feel, a little more notchy than mine with a similar transmission. So it is cool to drive different flavors. All right, so let's take this for a spin. And the first thing that I am noticing is the clutch feedback and gear engagement is much smoother than mine. Again, I've got a D1 with a brand new Ashcroft R380 5-speed, but I probably need a new LT230. There's a lot of gear lash and whine in the transfer case. This one, I don't feel that at all. And with the headliner and some of the sound deadening, it's actually a pretty quiet place to be, which is pretty refreshing. Again, I'm not one to a little road noise, but for this experience, because this is obviously a higher dollar vehicle that has a lot more done to it, it does feel a little bit more premium, which, you know, is to be expected. Steering, still an old truck. It's still, you know, not a lot of feedback for your input, but that's fine. You are rocking mud tires and everything, so that's kind of to be expected. But again, no really whines or clunks or anything that would lead me to believe that this truck is in immediate need of any work right now, which is neat. Brakes feel good. Yeah, no lash or anything when you start in second. Go to third. Truck sounds good too. Crank windows, big plus for me. I like it. Do a little downshift. Still sounds like a Rover V8. Doesn't have any type of aggressive muffler or anything on it, which is nice. Suspension feels good, compliant, soft, but not in a bad way. When I say soft, I mean comfortable. I think I have heavy-duty Old Man Emu in both my trucks, my Classic and my D1, and it's quite jarring, even though it's from the early 90s, and it should be worn out a little more than it feels. Definitely the right kind of power. You know, people that swap LSs and whatnot in these without any major upgrades, I'm sure it's great, but you're still talking about a 30 or 40-year-old chassis that probably doesn't get a whole lot of improvements. So yeah, this is absolutely adequate for the use case that most people are going to have with this truck. All right, let's pop it in the right gear. Oh, trying to get run over by the traffic. Yeah, really awesome engagement. Tachometer, speedometer work. And yeah, she scoots when you want it to, which is pretty good. So again, it really does make it pretty fun to drive, and I think that's part of the experience here. It's just engaging enough. It's not a performance vehicle or anything like that, but it's just enough power, just enough sound, and just enough of everything to keep you entertained and on your toes while looking pretty awesome. So the driving experience leaves pretty much nothing to be desired as far as I'm concerned. It really leads me to the kind of the niche of this truck as well, because who's the prospective buyer for this, right? This is going to list around 60 to 65,000-ish plus, depending if it sells locally, if it goes on BAT. I think this appeals to the buyer who's looking to get into Rovers. It might be looking at a Defender 110 or imported 90 or something like that, and has not seen a comparable or interesting restored spec class. Just slots right in there with those options as maybe a less known, but maybe more or less desirable. Probably definitely a more usable, kind of user-friendly, driver-friendly truck for sure. And for me, usability really makes all the difference in the world, because that's the difference between driving something and letting it sit. Because when it sit, things go wrong. If things go wrong, you have to pay for them. And if you have to pay for them, you get frustrated. If you get frustrated, you get rid of it. And then you get something new and it's not that good. And then you get sad and then you buy another one. That's kind of the usual flow of how things go. But with something like this, I don't really see the magic wearing off. It's just that good looking. I mean, it really appeals to all people, right? I mean, that's kind of the magic of Land Rovers. It's a boxy shape. It's got enough heritage, enough story, and just enough, I guess, automotive charisma. You know, it kind of just slots in there with the rest of them. And everyone has a good story. You can drive it to your events or what you want to do. You can take it on a longer trip. I mean, that's what makes these older vehicles, 4x4s, classic cars, you know, usable. This isn't the 50s or the early 60s or whatnot, when stuff was just a little bit finicky and didn't have the power or the brakes or something to drive it effectively or safely. But you can put the car seat in it, you can put the wife in it, the kids, whatever, and go do something. And I'm not saying overlanding or anything like that, because we don't use that term so much around here. But you know, it gets the job done, and I think it gets it done nicely and for a price point that I think is going to be pretty attractive for some people. So that's gonna be it, guys. That's the preliminary look at this truck. Like I said, I just picked it up from the owner today, just driven around. I'll probably do a longer term impression on it if it doesn't sell, but if you are interested, reach out to me via email or Instagram, and let me know if you know someone that might be interested in this truck. Like I said, everything has been done to it. It's turnkey, pretty much ready to go. We just have to be cleaned up on the inside a little bit, and it'll be off for sale. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell so you receive notifications. Like I said, my video variety is very kind of, don't want to say sporadic, but it's all over the place as far as what tickles my fancy or what gets featured. And this is definitely a special truck, and I'm really kind of excited to have it in our stable for the time being. I'm still working on the Disco and the other projects, but I'm just going to sit here in the back of the yard and stare at this for a few more hours. See you next time.